What have we just witnessed? The queen of poise under duress, Yandy Smith, broke down on television tonight. The woman who has defended her family, marriage, and love in front of millions of people couldn't take it any longer. For weeks, there have been accusations of treachery circulating on social media, and bloggers have been looking through her past to ruin her life. But what exactly led her to this point? The fabricated lie was so powerful and hurtful that it caused Yandy to lose it in front of the world. Fans are shocked. The usage of social media is booming. What about the industry? Perhaps things won't be the same again. The facts, drama, and lies surrounding Yandy Smith's emotional breakdown in depth tonight. Did Mendes actually play a part in these nasty rumors that were spread by whom? Is this the beginning of Yandy and Mendes's downfall? Hold on tight, because what you're about to hear will change everything. Yandy Smith has always been a strong woman, from her beginnings in the music industry to her rise on reality television. She has faced challenges, disagreements, and public criticism, but she has remained composed throughout the chaos, defended her husband, and fought for her family. However, something changed this time. Something broke her. It was easy to ignore the rumors at first because they were just whispers or small blogs on the internet that hinted at a man and another woman's relationship. Yandy had seen social media create fake crises and false headlines, but the rumors spread like wildfire, turning what had begun as a simple, baseless accusation into a full-fledged media frenzy. People started to question her marriage once more. Did men really have faithfulness? Had he been meeting someone in secret? Did she have to defend their relationship against those who wanted to end it years ago? Yandy initially remained silent because she would rather not add to the drama, but as the pressure mounted, she noticed that her name was being brought up whenever she looked through social media. Her once supportive fans began to doubt her, and then the biggest blow came when an alleged insider claimed to have proof that Menk had been seen with someone else in a blog post that went viral, claiming that he had been seen multiple times at a lounge having a close conversation with a non-Yandy woman. This was no longer just idle rumors. It was an assault, and people began tagging Yandy and requesting clarification. Yandy tried to ignore the footage, but it eventually surfaced. A grainy, far-off video of a man who seemed to be Mendes talking to a woman at a bar went viral online. It didn't matter that there was no clear audio or proof of anything wrong. Yandy knew how it worked, and that it was practically impossible to control a story like this once it started. Over the years, she and Men had already come under a lot of scrutiny. They had survived everything, including their challenging previous relationship and the struggles they had endured while he was incarcerated. But this time, it felt different because Men's DCs assured her that she didn't need to. He reassured her that there was nothing wrong with him, but Yandy was worried about more than just the rumors. She was constantly defending their relationship and fighting to prove that their love was real, and she had trouble sleeping at night because of the accusations, comments, and the way people suddenly turned against her. She had built a reputation as a strong woman who supported her partner, but all of a sudden she felt as though her efforts were never enough. One of her closest friends, whom she had trusted for many years, told her that the reports were untrue. Weren't just online, someone close to her circle was pushing them, and she knew she broke at that point. It wasn't just a blog post. Online stories weren't just made up. It was a personal matter. Her emotions had been building for too long, and despite her initial attempts to handle the situation calmly, she felt completely exhausted, worn out, and misled. Then, during a private discussion between the men and Yandy, the event that shocked everyone happened. She was sobbing, her voice shaking with annoyance. She wasn't just defending her spouse, she was fighting for her reputation. Her voice was filled with pain and anger as she screamed, "I know it was no asterisk. I know that it was no touching. I know that it was no kissing." The footage was uncut without filtering pure feeling. "The world is constantly trying to find an excuse to split up my family. Put an end to it. Put an end to it. Cease it," she begged, her hands shaking, tears welling up in her eyes. This rumor wasn't the only one. Years of battling, defending, and needing to prove oneself were all part of it. However, after the video surfaced, everything changed. Discussing her, the woman who had always remained composed was now crying in public. Some admirers expressed sympathy, saying that Yandy had already been through enough, while others questioned why, if the accusations were false, she was reacting so violently, with thousands of people examining every word she said and every facial expression she made. It became a debate, and the man DC said nothing. He hadn't addressed the charges, he hadn't publicly defended his wife, and everyone was beginning to have their doubts because of that silence. People started playing old interviews and clips from reality TV where men were accused of cheating on Yandy. They relived the time she had defended him and supported him in spite of the danger, which some fans claimed she was in denial about because she might not have wanted to see the truth. However, for Yandy, this went beyond just proving that her marriage was valid. It had to do with something more important, which had to do with the ongoing attacks on Black love. When couples like hers broke up, it seemed like everyone was celebrating. She no longer fought for herself. Instead, she fought to show that a resilient. As she wiped away her tears and looked for strength again, she started to wonder, what if this time was truly different? What if there was more to the rumors than meets the eye? Was she defending something that had already been taken away? As Yandy sat alone, rumors that she had no control over were now tearing apart everything she had worked so hard to create, including her public image, job, and family. The emotional video release had started a wildfire, and things were getting out of hand. It was only going to get worse. Every hour, gossip blogs created new headlines claiming that Yandy was delusional and that Mendeces was secretly seeing someone else. Some even implied that the emotional video was a desperate attempt to conceal the truth and was a form of manipulation. Although it wasn't the worst part, the worst thing was that she started to lose contact with some of her closest friends, whom she had confided in about her life, even though they didn't provide any concrete evidence. Instead, they seemed to be passing judgment in it. They whispered behind her back that they talked about their marriage minds and her reaction to the rumors and whispers. Yandy couldn't help but feel duped because these were the people she had fought against and supported during their disputes, and now they were silent when she needed them. Her friends in the media weren't the only ones who turned against her. One supporter even said, "You're too good for him." In reaction to her post, "Why can't you see that he is lying to you?" Another admirer remarked, "Burrow, despite our encouragement, you're better off without him." She couldn't stop what felt like a tidal wave crashing into her at last. The emotions that had been building for days erupted, and she felt helpless and alone, as if she were fighting an unwinnable battle. DC's tried to comfort her, but he was struggling too. His silence and refusal to publicly address the rumors only served to stoke the flames. He insisted that the truth would eventually come to light and that everything would be okay with Yandy. But every day that went by without him doing anything only made things worse. The night after the video was leaked, Yandy challenged the DCs. She was tired of the gossip and the way people were analyzing her life, so she insisted that he do something. Her voice was shaking with emotion, and she told him, "You must say something. You cannot watch helplessly as they destroy us men." He tried to reassure her, saying, "They always do." Mendes knew that he loved her and that he was trying to protect their family, but his silence was still a betrayal. But Yandy wasn't convinced that this is different from men's. "It's about our family, it's about us." The argument grew more intense as the weight of the situation weighed heavily on both of them. The rumors weren't the only thing anymore. It was about their ability to fight together and their mutual trust. In addition to the rumors, the silence that surrounded them made Yandy feel deceived. She had stood by Menk through thick and thin, but now it seemed as though he was leaving her to handle this conflict alone. With tears in her eyes, she muttered, "Men VCs, you're not getting it. You have no idea how it makes me feel to watch. You have no idea how awful it is for strangers to feel entitled to judge us. You tear us down." Her heart pounding, she hesitated for a second. "I need you to be my partner in this, not just my silent observer. I need you to be there for me." Before Minx eventually spoke, there was a lengthy silence. "I understand, sweetie. I should be doing more. I know all I'm trying to do is maintain composure." However, it was obvious that Yandy didn't require calm. She had to do something. "Calm isn't enough," she stated firmly. The tension in the room was evident as the speaker said, "I need you to fight with me." For the first time, Yandy started to question whether Men VC was the man she thought he was, if he had the kind of partner who would always be there for her, or if he was just like everyone else, content to watch while the world tried to destroy them. For the next few days, there was more silence, and she couldn't escape the constant barrage of negativity. The accusations, the whispers, the video, and every attempt to get Maines to speak up felt like a step further away from them, and she felt as though she was drowning in the commotion that she shared on social media one evening, even if she wasn't. "I've been quiet long enough. The lies and the rumors are untrue. I'm sick of having to justify myself, though I'm fed up with defending my family to strangers." "Enough is enough," posted Andy, who wasn't sure if it was the right one. She had had enough of people making assumptions about her life while she sat in the shadows, if only to remind everyone of the truth. She hesitated before hitting the submit button, even though she knew what would happen. It felt like the weight had been lifted, and once she spoke, there was no going back. She wasn't sure whether she was ready for the extra attention that would be directed at her, but Yandy had lost his. The post went viral in a matter of minutes, and the comments were flooded with both positive and negative feedback. The admirers really stood out, telling her that they would always be there for her, that she was loved, and that people knew the truth. The amount of support that was shown was incredible, and Yandy felt hope for the first time in days that the fight was far from over, even though it seemed impossible that she would still be able to defend her family. The rumors caused Yandy a great deal of emotional harm, and she saw herself sinking further into a psychological and emotional abyss. The public continued to speculate and gossip, with newspapers exaggerating the situation and online trolls making it much worse than it needed to be. What had started as a singular incident quickly became the talk of the town, and every move Yandy made was scrutinized by the media, who followed her around like vultures, waiting for the next juicy detail to exploit the mounting pressure. In private, however, she was completely unique, thinking about her family and how to protect them from the consequences on countless sleepless nights. Meg was finding it difficult to handle the situation on his own. It was in his nature to withdraw and be silent to keep his head down. However, as the days went by, it became clear that silence wasn't the answer, even if he didn't want to add gasoline to the fire by making further public remarks without his voice in the discussion. Things had gone wrong as she ruminated on the accusations. Public scrutiny was nothing new to her, but this time it felt personal since her family, marriage, and entire identity were the subject of the rumors, not just her. Men DC decided to take action after realizing how much Yandy had been affected by the situation. He could no longer watch helplessly as his wife dealt with the media frenzy alone, and he knew that it was time for him to take charge and deal with the matter directly. Simply apologizing to Yandy was not enough. He also needed to show her that he was committed to supporting her and that he was prepared to confront the lies that threatened to destroy everything they had worked so hard to achieve in the moment. "Men DCs," she said, her voice shaking with emotion, "you must be here for me. I need you to defend us for me. I can't continue to work alone. Together we have experienced a great deal. I don't want these lies to cost me everything." As they sat down together, Yandy tried to stifle the tears that had been welling up in her eyes for days. She was not sure if she could ever trust him again because she had opened up and shown vulnerability, but all she had received in return was silence with her sense of isolation. Manik looked at her, remorse inscribed on his face. "I know I haven't been there as often as I should have," Yandy said. "I'm not sure if I can trust you once more. I'm in pain," in a voice that was a mixture of anguish and annoyance. "I'm not sure if I can trust you once more. I'm in pain," Yandy said, acknowledging that she had been afraid to speak up and make things worse. "But now that I'm here, I realize that I was mistaken, and that I'm necessary to you, and that I'm here." I understand, Mink muttered. Although I can't undo the hurt I caused you, I can show you that I'm here to stay and that I'm defending our family and ourselves. I'll make things right, Yandy. I promised that. She took a long time to respond because she needed to. She couldn't just go back to their relationship as if nothing had happened because the emotional scars were too fresh. But she also knew that she needed to find a way to heal, even if it meant taking things one small step at a time for the sake of her husband and her family. As they sat there together, the tension between them was evident, and she thought about the dreams they had. It was difficult to ignore the constant reminders of their struggles, and every time Yandy checked social media, there was another post, comment, or story that tried to destroy them. The deep-seated doubt that had begun to seep into her heart was about what had happened because they had shared the life they had created and the love that had seemed indestructible at one point. Could they rebuild what the public scrutiny, rumors, and lies had torn apart? Days passed, and while their relationship started to feel more normal, the harm caused by the stories continued, even though they were suddenly more subdued. In her gaze, men could see the distance and the hesitancy in her response, the way she refrained from giving him the full embrace she used to give him. He knew there would be no easy solution and that it would take time for the broken trust to be restored, but he was willing to go to any lengths to show Yandy that he was committed to their future. Hurt more than the public's reaction because she started to doubt everything, including her life, marriage, and choices. Would she ever be able to feel secure in her relationship again? After another long day of battling the negativity on the internet, one evening while looking through her social media page, she saw messages from friends, fans, and even strangers praising her for being authentic and expressing their admiration for her strength. Although she was grateful for the support, the words weren't enough to fill the void inside her. She needed to adopt a new perspective on the world where she wasn't constantly being attacked or having her opinions torn apart. She found resonance in the words, "You deserve to be happy, Yandy. Peace is something you deserve. Don't let these people ruin your joy. Continue to fight for your rights." For the first time in days, Yandy refused to let the outside world define her or determine her level of happiness. She decided it was time to regain control. She took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and vowed to herself that regardless of what the world threw at her, she would fight for her family, her mental health, and the future she wished to create. For the first time in a long time, she refused to let the lies and rumors control her life any longer. She prioritized her emotional stability, mental health, and ability to move on. She knew that the road to recovery wouldn't be easy, but she was still dealing with the fallout from everything that had happened. He realized that he needed to support Yandy in ways he had never done before because he could see how much the rumors and the public attention had affected her, and he had neglected what was important to his family. After a long day of work, Menvisi's returned home late one evening. She was sitting on the couch looking content despite her exhaustion, as though she had finally found inner peace. Although she was still burdened by the past, she felt hopeful after spending the evening reflecting on everything that had happened. He had been preoccupied with his anxieties and doubts, but he wasn't sure where to start. He was ready to put things right, though he wasn't sure where to start. He was ready to show Yandy that he was committed to being by her side since he realized that words alone weren't enough. In a quiet, sincere voice, he responded, "Yandy, I know I haven't been the man you needed me to be. I've been self-centered and distant, but I wish to put things right. Being the man you deserve is what I aspire to, and I want to stand up for you and our family." He knew it was a turning point in their relationship. Yandy looked at him with mixed feelings. He had previously said similar things, but something had changed in his eyes, and this time she could see the pure passion in his voice. She felt that he was sincere, but the wounds from the past were difficult to heal, and women in DC's needed time to realize that this was more than just rhetoric. "I must see that you are dedicated to our family and to us. I can't continue the fight by myself. I won't." The men nodded. Realizing the significance of what she had said, she said, "Yandy, I'll show you every day. I will prove it to you. I won't be leaving." Yandy didn't immediately respond. allowing herself to think that things might be different for the first time in a long time. Perhaps, just perhaps, they might overcome together. The days that followed were filled with small but significant events, and Mendy became more involved in their relationship, showing Yandy their full level of commitment. Even though she was still reserved, Yandy started talking to him in ways she hadn't in months. Although it wasn't perfect, it was a start as their emotional distance gradually started to narrow. The harm had already been done when the media gradually turned their attention to other subjects. The persistent rumors about Yandy and Mendy served as a constant reminder of the suffering they had gone through. He and she started attending therapy sessions where they worked through their problems and improved their communication and mutual support. That the public's opinion of her family did not determine her level of happiness. Rather, it was based on their love and support for one another. One day, while she and the men were sitting on their couch and looking through social media, she came across a fan post that made her smile. It was a simple statement full of love and support. "You're an inspiration. Yandy, you are a fighter who possesses strength and power. Continue to push yourself, you're capable." The comments resonated deeply with her because she realized that her strength came from within, even when the outside world might have different opinions. She was not going to allow the whispers to define her any longer. She had the power to write her story. She turned to Meneses, who had been silently watching her while holding her shoulder. "Have we not experienced a great deal?" she said in a quiet but determined voice. "But we are still here, we are still fighting, and we will come out of the experience stronger." Meg squeezed her hand and smiled. "We are Yandy. We have each other. All we need is that you are Yandy." As time went on, Yandy and Mendes grew closer. They still faced challenges, but they overcame them as a team. Their relationship wasn't perfect, but it was sincere and founded on respect, love, and trust. The only people whose opinions mattered were those who truly loved and supported her. Although Yandy will always carry the scars from the storm, she had come out stronger than before and had learned that she could trust herself once more, that she was strong, and that she should never allow the outside world to overpower her inner peace. The drama clarifies that Yandy and Mendy have gone through one of the most trying times of their lives. Will these rumors continue to tear them apart, or will they come out stronger? They knew that as long as they stood together, they could overcome anything. However, like all rumors, they eventually faded into the background, leaving Yandy and Mendy to pick up the pieces of their lives as the world moved on to the next great story. They were unique because of their love, dedication to one another, and unwavering faith that they could overcome any challenge together. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Yandy and Mendes can handle this? Or do you think it will all fall apart eventually? The story is far from over, so if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you may be the first to know when we release the next stunning update. We're just getting started, so stay tuned.